The Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by Reaper Apparel Company. Reaper Apparel offers a casual line of superb fit, finish, and comfort. We design for those who refuse to die slowly and choose to live untamed. For those who aren't afraid to face the dark, for the ones that thrive in it, and for those who can appreciate life through a grim lens. That's Reaper Apparel Company. Go to the link in the description of this episode, use the promo code Mike Bono, and get 10% off. Also, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by my own personal merch store, the Stupid Should Hurt merch store. I have hats, I have t-shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, water bottles, notebooks, you name it, I've got it. The description and the link for that will be in the description of this episode. Also, right now, if you use the promo code WELCOME, I will give you 5% off of your first purchase. That's the Stupid Should Hurt merch store. Also, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by Tactical Brotherhood, all American-made apparel, which helps support the Second Amendment. You can also find all this in the description of this episode with the link, Tactical Brotherhood. Part of every proceed does go to helping veterans, as it is a very good cause. All American-made products made right here in Minnesota. Go and check them out. Use the promo code PATRIOT15 to get 15% off your purchase. Now, let's start the show. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Ride Home Rants podcast. This is, as always, your host, Mike Bono. I got a great and special episode for us today. I have a panel of guests that are going to be joining me on here, and a very special co-host for this episode because, as you know, when I do my roundtables, I need to control all the knuckleheads that I bring onto the show with me here and get them all in order. But we have the wonderful manager of the podcast, co-host, and Johnny Fitty Falcone. But first, everybody, please go and peep all of the sponsors that you heard at the beginning of the episode. Tactical Brotherhood, Reaper Apparel, and my own personal merch store, the Stupid Should Hurt merch store. So, that being said, this is our NBA Finals preview show. The finals are starting finally. We had some great series. I got a panel of guests that we're going to have break down this game and what we think is going to happen. We're going to get through it. Let's introduce the guests. We're going to break this up into two groups. So I will go first. My group. Let's start with Drew McLaughlin. Where are you at? Where are you from? And where does Larry Bird rank on your top NBA players?
What's up, guys? Drew McLaughlin here from Lobo, Ohio. I'm a teacher in Brookfield. And Larry Bird on my top list, he is in the top 10 for sure. I'm going to say he's 7th.
7th? All right, I'll take 7th. Let's go with Drew Barth.
What's up, Bono? Thanks for having me again. Drew Barth, live in Lafayette, Indiana. And Fitty, you're not going to like this. I'm going to put Larry Bird, I think, at 17. Just throw that one out there.
Ooh, throwing shade off the rip, Barth. All right.
You live in Indiana.
I wasn't born here, though, Fitty.
And we got also his brother Ryan Barth. Finally got the Barth brothers on back together.
Yeah, what's up, Bono? Thanks for having me back. I'm from small town Minonk, Illinois, central Illinois. And I live in Eureka, Illinois now. And I'm going to throw Larry Bird somewhere in the top 10, Fitty. I'll give you that.
All right, everyone throwing shade at Fitty because they know that was his question.
Top 10, not 10.
And last to round out my group, my man's coming back, Mr. Askew.
How you doing, guys? Thank you for having me once again. I really appreciate it. I always have fun and it's joy. Mr. Askew from Columbus, Ohio, offensive coordinator at Walnut Ridge High School. And I'm going to have to say Larry Bird will rank in my top 11th. Top 11.
That is going to be my group of panel of guests that you will hear break down the NBA Finals. Fitty, why don't you go ahead and introduce your group?
Sure. So before everybody gets going. I'm going to say Larry Bird's number 5 behind Jordan, Kareem, LeBron, Magic Johnson, and the Birdman, the only man ever to finish in the top 3 at MVP voting 8 years in a row. Also averaged a double-double in his career. So, and shot 39% from 3. My panel, I have 3 guys. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. But Tony, let's start with you.
Okay, my name's Tony. I'm coming out of Ravenna, Ohio. I write for Keon Sports, and I have Larry Bird ranked number 13.
Okay. Mike Worrell, let's go to you next.
Hey, Fitty. I'm originally from Ohio. I'm currently sitting in Jacksonville, Illinois right now. And I guess I never told you, 1992, I went to 4 of Larry's last games. They played the Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference playoffs. Went to all 4 games in Cleveland. So, in fact, Cleveland beat him. I saw Larry's last game there, and I'll put him right around 10 in that vicinity.
Okay. And rounding us out, Bob Gavalier.
Bob Gavalier here from Youngstown, Ohio, working for 1390 AM. And I got to say Larry Bird around number 8.
Thank you, Bob.
They just crushed you with that question, like, just so you know. Like, that did not go the way you were planning it, did it?
You know what? Isaiah Thomas said, if you put me, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and Michael Jordan in a room and make us fight it out, Larry Bird's the one that walks out. So, Larry Bird...
Are we talking about fighting, or are we talking about basketball? Like, what are we talking about here now? Like this?
Oh, I'm pretty sure the 80s in basketball were nothing but fighting, so It kind of ties in together for us old school guys there. So.
And that's because everybody knocked themselves out, and Larry didn't work out.
This fighting thing from the 80s that you speak of, I came up in the 2000s.
Yeah.
So for us old guys.
For us old timers on here right now. Everybody but Tony. That's it. Just where we're at. But anyways, all right, we'll go ahead and we'll get this started here. My group, we got 5 questions we're going to get through. Each group will get through 5 different questions here. So we'll go ahead and we'll get this rolling. I'm going to start with Drew McLaughlin. How do you describe what the Heat have done in these playoffs from the play-in game to now in the finals?
Well, if you look back to, like, the bubble till now, the Heat have always been here. In the bubble, they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Last year, the same. They played the Celtics. And this year as well, making it to the finals. So they always had this core guys. Eric Spoelstra was an excellent coach, but does excellent things. So that was a team that I thought at the beginning that if they were going to make a run, and I'm a Cavs fan too, and I knew if they beat the Bucks and the Cavs won, I thought they'd beat the Cavs easily if it got to that point, but it never got to that point anyway. So I thought what the Heat are doing is really incredible. It shows what doesn't matter if you're a 1 or an 8 seed, you can get there. But I think they were good enough from the jump that they knew their path and how to get there and how to do this, being a 3rd year in a row, making it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
All right. Drew Burf, same question.
Well, when you got Jimmy Butler come playoff time, how can you go against the guy, what he does? When they get into the playoffs, Jimmy Butler, I think he just got that trademark now, and it's incredible what he can do. I don't watch NBA as much anymore. When it comes to playoff time, I tune in, and I really thought the Bucks were going to end up in this position, but I'm glad. One of my good buddies is a Celtics fan, and I was with him last night watching the game, and there was nothing better than just watching him every time. Oh, they're making a comeback, and the Heat just kept pouring it on. But what the Heat are doing, I don't think they'll get past the Nuggets. I'm sure that's a question later, but yeah, it's pretty cool to see them as a Heat do that.
Yeah, I really thought the Bucks were going to be the team here. I'll agree with you on that point. But Ryan Barth, let's go with you. Same question.
Yeah. Start it with, if the Bulls could have beaten the Heat there in that second play-in game, I'm almost thinking that they could have made a run to the finals just as the Heat did. I got asked that the other day by one of my friends, actually. I don't know if they would have if the Bulls would have been able to beat anybody like the Bucks have. They've got an incredible culture there that they've built. As you can see with Spoelstra, he's the longest tenured coacher in the NBA right now, I think. And it's great to see that him putting that together, and Pat Riley. I saw another stat from him. I don't know what it is exactly about being in the NBA Finals as many times as he has in his career. So that's just been cool to see. And I'm just glad that the Heat are making a run, seeing some upsets in the NBA playoffs here. It's been good to see. So that's what I got for you, Bono.
Yeah, I mean, I like the upsets. I'm an upset kind of guy. I like rooting for the underdogs in these. But, Mister, let's round out this first question with you.
I think, man, resilient, and then they just finished. They found a way to finish, when it counted, in that last game in Game 7. It's something, we always say it's not how you start, but how you finish. They started off 3-0 and then went down 3. But at the end, they find a way to finish the series out. And so I would have to say, they just found a way to finish and play together and get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have to agree with that. I mean, you see that in these finals and when playoff time, the teams that actually play together as a team are the teams that are prevailing. And, you got the Nuggets and the Heat. But, Fitty, why don't we get your group in there now?
Sure, Tony, we're going to start with you with this question. Does playing at home in this series mean more to the Heat or the Nuggets?
I would have to say I would give the slight edge to the Nuggets, although the Heat have done what they've needed to do at home, too. So I got to give the edge to the Nuggets.
Coach Worrell, how about you? What do you think? Who means more playing at home this series, the Heat or the Nuggets?
Not really sure about the home court advantage after the Boston-Miami series. The Heat won 3 in Boston, which is incredible, in a playoff series to go on the road and beat a really good team 3 times. So I have no answer to that. The way things are going in the playoffs this year, I don't think it matters where the games are at right now.
And then, Bob, let's go to you to round out that question.
I'd probably have to see Denver just because the Heat's been here before. They know what it takes. Spoelstra is the veteran coach. And I think with the Nuggets, I think they're going to get a lot more from their home crowd and get a lot more, the enthusiasm and stuff. So I think Denver is going to be the one that's going to need the home crowd more than Miami.
Gotcha. Okay, back to you, Bono.
All right, so this next question, we're going to start with Mister here. What has been more beneficial to the Nuggets' final run? The play of Nikola Jokic, a.k.a. the Joker, or the play of his surrounding cast?
I would have to say the Joker has he's came to play. He come to play every night, man. He's a different maker. He's a different player. So I have to say, man, the Joker most definitely. He's just a different type of guy. And when you have those type of guys that's on your team, they can just affect the outcome on both sides of the court.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. I mean, what's he averaging? Like 8 triple doubles in the entire playoff run? I mean, how do you not go with that? But you know what, Ryan Barth, what do you got to say about that?
You kind of want to say both with how they've been going. I mean, the impact that Jokic has is incredible. But with the way Murray's playing as well, to be able to knock down tough shots in the fourth quarter, I think that just adds a different dynamic than what Jokic does throughout the entire game. Don't get me wrong; they play a little bit of 2-man game towards the end of game time, but the way they play together, I think that may be a lot for the Heat to handle, and I don't know if the Heat can necessarily play that zone, that matchup zone that they kind of been playing against the Celtics. I don't know if they'll be able to quite do that against the Nuggets, and because granted, everybody's going to have to make adjustments, and we'll see who can adjust to what's going on the court late in the game and make the plays. So,
all right, Drew Barth.
I mean, the easy answer would be Joker, but the way Jamal Murray played in the last years, I think he averaged 30 in the series in those 4 games. I mean, so he's scoring, putting up points. Joker affects it obviously with passing. I've never seen it where he set up a screen, a pick and roll for a 5 guy coming off to shoot it. I mean, you rarely ever see that. But and then Michael Porter Jr., the way he's been playing too. I mean, he's just when he's healthy, he's a very talented player. But I know you kind of stumped me with that one, but I'm just going to say the impact of the other players.
Okay. Drew McLaughlin, let's round us out.
Yeah, you want to. I agree. I mean, everyone made a great point. I think you want to say both as well. I think one of the bigger things I've noticed, even in the Lakers series, was there's been times in the fourth quarter where I think Joker hasn't. I don't think Joker scored in 2 of the fourth quarters of those games, and he had a lot of assists, but those guys are hitting those shots. So Joker's playing out of his mind, which is bringing him to this point. But these role players are really knocking down these shots, like the Aaron Gordons, the Caldwell Popes, Michael Porter Jr., Bruce Brown, all those guys. They're all hitting their shots. So I think it's a total team effort. They really kind of, I don't want to say walked through the West, but they had an easier path. But that's a credit to the team, the coaching, and getting the 1 seed. Because I think they played the seeds they played won 8, 5, and 7 or something like that. And then another 8 seed. So just it credits the team and what they've done in the regular season as well.
All right, absolutely. Fitty, to you.
Sure, Tony, we're going to start with you on this. Which one of these teams is more likely to return to the finals next year, and why?
I'm going to go with the Denver Nuggets if they keep their core together, because Miami's run is incredible, don't get me wrong, but they were nearly, if they didn't blow out Boston last night, it would have been a reverse sweep, and then you would have had to wonder what all went wrong to blow a 3-0 lead. So I got to say Denver.
Mike, let's go with you. Which one of these teams is more likely to return to the finals next year, and why?
I say Denver. They have a good young nucleus, and I assuming they may pick up a player to go along with them for next year. So I could, assuming they stay healthy and keep their nucleus, that they have a chance to get back.
And then Bob, how about you?
I'd have to say Denver too. I just look at the East, and I think there's so much talent in the East. I mean, Boston was a great team. You got Milwaukee, who got shut down early. Brooklyn's going to come back and get better. The Knicks are going to be a lot better, I think, next year. There you go. So I just think the West, not as much talent out in the West. There's a couple of young, good teams that need to learn how to win, but I think Denver has an easier road through the playoffs. I think they have a better chance to get back than Miami just because of the so much talent in the East, the veteran talent that all those East teams have.
And Bono, before I turn it back over to you, I'll say for us old guys here, being a Knicks fan now, watching the Knicks and Heat was like watching 1995 basketball. This playoff, guys were just banging it out in the paint and getting busted up and just crushing each other on screens and everything else. So you want to watch some old school basketball, Tony? All you had to do was watch the Knicks and the Heat this year slop it out in the paint.
I did. I was having a flashback to the 80s when the Pistons were playing because they were just beating each other up. When the Pistons and Knicks used to play too, that was some of the 80s games. They were beating each other up, and I love that. Going back to that.
People don't. Some of the young guys here, they don't remember when P.J. Brown threw Charlie Ward upside down into the stands.
Oh my
God! Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
I do remember
He picked them up and flipped them.
of Van Gundy grabbing one of the dude's legs, like when New York and Miami got into it.
Yeah.
Gotta bring back old school basketball is what we're trying to say here for all the listeners out there. We need old school basketball back. We need 80s and 90s basketball back. That's all there is to it.
We do.
All right, Bono, let's go back to you on the next one.
All right, Drew McLaughlin, we're going to go to you first here on this one. Which team has the better coaching edge?
Oh, it's Eric Spoelstra by a mile, I'd say. I saw a stat today that Eric Spoelstra coached in 29 finals games. The Mike Malone 0. I mean, he's been there for 30 years. He's done this over and over again. He blows Mike Malone up by a mile. I think it's almost unfair at that point.
Yeah, you kind of got to give the edge there. But Drew Barth, what do you got?
Yeah, I think it's a fairly easy, and nothing against Michael Malone, what he's done with that team. I mean, this was his 8th or 9th year there. But, I mean, yeah, Eric Spoelstra starting out as a video coordinator, I think, and then working his way up, obviously, when LeBron, Wade, Bosh were there through that. Everybody thought, oh, that's the only reason he could do it. But then he's proven without those guys he can still win. So, I mean, definitely got to side with Spoelstra and his staff.
Okay. Ryan Barr, same question.
Yeah, Drew hit it pretty good for me. Like he just said, the way Spoelstra came up and learned through the culture that the Heat built and continue that path and proven himself and not just having the top tier players in the league on his team. And granted, he's got some really good talent, but the way that they've brought their guys through the program and brought them up and able to compete at the level that they are. They aren't big name guys, but he's got them playing well. So you would say Spoelstra and take nothing away from Mike Malone and the way that he's brought the Nuggets organization to what it is now. And it's great to see. So I would say Spoelstra just because of the way that he's gotten the Heat to where they are and kept the culture where it's at. So I would say Spoelstra.
All right, Mister, round us out here.
Yeah, I have to agree, man. Hey, Miami, it's something about that Miami life, man. You got Miami life, you got 2 Live Crew, and you got, you got it, the whole deal. But, the stuff that he did and put together, you got to, from being what he was, the video coordinator, the assistant, and being around all them guys, and, he's found an ingredient that works for him. And his coaching style and getting the guys he need, to play for him, So he's doing well, man.
This is why I love having Mister on the show. I'm saying it right there. Asked him about coaching question. He went right into the city of Miami. That was just my man. Oh, thank you for that. But Fitty, let's take it to you.
Well, and the one thing I'll say, and just to kind of go up for that too, I did hear it when I was watching the Knicks series. Miami does have 6 undrafted free agents on their team contributing out of the top 15 guys. So, I mean, Spoelstra does get everything out of a bunch of guys who are Division III players and, undrafted free agents. So it is a testament to him. But, Tony, we're going to start with you at this question. And for, Tony, Mike, and Bob here, this does deal with the finals, but it deals with overall the NBA as well. So, Tony, is it valid to say that 4 out of the 5 best NBA players right now are all foreign players? The past 5 MVPs have all gone to foreign-born players. And also, Joel Embiid has led the league in scoring the past 2 years. Would you agree or disagree that the new faces of the NBA are Joel Embiid, the Joker, the Greek Freak, and Luka? What are your thoughts?
I would have to agree. I have to agree with you because the game has always been international more or less, but with the rise of those players, plus Jamal Murray from Canada as well, and plus Victor Wembanyama when he gets to the league from France, I would say that the game is getting more, has more of an international flavor. So I would say, yeah.
Mike, what about you? What do you think?
I would agree with those 4, Fitty, but are you talking the 4 best one-way players or two-way players, or does that not come into it?
However you want to group it in.
I agree with those 4 guys, and I'll say Jokic is the best skilled big man I've ever seen. So I take
interesting take. What about you, Bob? What do you think about that statement?
Yeah, I can agree with you right now. And I think it's because these guys are playing a little bit longer overseas. You got some of these kids that are just not even going to college anymore over here in America. They're just jumping right in the NBA. And I think they need a couple years in college to kind of learn some discipline and stuff like that. I think that's what's helping some of these guys that are playing overseas coming in, playing a couple years and getting their due. And, it's pretty bad when you got Luka, the number 4 guy on that list, because he's pretty high up there too with some of those guys that you have. So yeah, the top 4 got to be those guys right now coming in. And being overseas, I think it's been helping a little bit. I think the younger kids now got to look at it, coming right out of high school, playing 1 year. I think they may be staying a couple more years. They could be getting a little bit better. Some of these guys are playing here in America.
I was reading something today too, and it was talking about these guys, and then it said also don't forget about Murray being from Canada, and Ben Simmons is also foreign, and you have Pascal Siakam, I always butcher his name, but he's also foreign. You got the kid coming in from France, and you got these other guys, and it was saying that the guy you were saying, they're coming in too young, and these guys are developing so long overseas that some of the best players in the NBA, honestly, in the top 10, you could arguably after this playoffs put Murray in there and even Sabonis and say 6 out of the 10 best NBA players are all foreign now, because with LeBron and also Steph Curry sliding closer and closer to retirement, there's nobody to replace them. It was a very interesting article, I will say that. So, but Mike, let's go back to you.
I mean, that got deep there, Fetty, on that question there. It was wild.
I want to go to the other team.
You're losing people, Fetty. And I mean on your team, not listeners. That's what it is.
He's making me think too much.
But, mister, let's go for you for this question. Question number 4 here. Who wins this series, and how many games does it go?
And, that's a good question. I would really love to see, Miami be able to pull it out from everything that they have come through and been through. But if they win, I mean, it would have to be quick, fast, and decisively. It have to be quick. But I think I think it's gonna go to Game 7, man. I really think it's gonna go to Game 7. This is these guys they play together. These guys are talking about as far as Miami. I believe these guys are on a mission. And you can see it in just how they play, and just how they finished that game. And I think they knew if they was to win that game, which they did that last game against Boston, they had to win in a fashion like that, going into the next series. So I think Denver is going to pull it out in 7. But I won't be surprised if Miami, give them a run.
All right. Ryan Barth, let's go to you.
Yeah, it's either the Nuggets in 6 or Miami in 7. That's what I'll say. That's what you're going to get, Bono. The Nuggets in 6 or Miami in 7. That's what it is.
I expect nothing less from you, Ryan. I'm gonna.
I can't give you for certain. Miami or what I say. I can't for now. The Nuggets in 6 or Miami in 7. That's it.
Who the hell let this guy on?
Yeah.
What do you got, Skippy?
All right. Well, let's go to your brother then and see what you got there, Drew Barth. What do we got?
Now he's just saying he can't be wrong because he said, I picked one or the other. I mean, the hell? I think the Nuggets will win in 6. I'm not going to give you 2 answers. That's just bullshit right there.
Oh, my. You're taking after me. What's new?
Nuggets in 6.
All right, before the Barth brothers kill each other, let's go to Drew McLaughlin.
I know. I feel like I need to hop in here. I think the Nuggets will be well rested. I think they're going to take a 2-0 series lead. I think the Heat are going to come back, make it 2-2. And I think the Nuggets will eventually win in 6. But I think it's going to be every game's going to come down to the last few minutes. I think it's going to be a great battle. I don't see any blowouts in this series whatsoever.
See, I'm going to answer this question, and I'm going to go the exact opposite way. And I think Denver's just too well rested for how well they're playing, and I'm going Denver in 4. Fitty, let's go to you.
That can definitely happen.
I'm going to answer the same thing before I pass it along to my group. I'm going to say Denver in 5. I just think they're too well rested. You have to play in the altitude of Denver if you're Miami, coming from
Good
almost
point. Yep.
A flat, geographical surface up into the mountains there. And eventually you're going to have basketball legs, right? And if you don't have them already from playing a series of 5, 6, and 7 games, you're going to get them going out to Denver. I'll have Miami sneak one in there, but I'm going to go the Nuggets in 5. But same question. Who's going to win this series and how many games, Tony, does it go?
If Miami had pulled off the sweep, I would have probably said Heat in 6 or 7. But since they dragged to the Eastern Conference Finals, it dragged to 7. I say Denver in a gentleman's sweep. Denver in 5.
Okay. Mike, how about you? What do you think?
This has nothing to do with your question, Bono or Fitty, but did Drew McLaughlin start this podcast in a vehicle? Now he's on a rocking chair on the front porch.
He did. It's the epitome of ride home rants. He was literally driving home while he was doing this for us. He's getting to the spirit of the name of the show, Mike.
I literally rode home and ranted to you guys.
Okay.
That's awesome.
I need sponsored now.
I love it. To answer your question, I see the Heat, a gallant effort. I think a couple of their key guys are wore out right now. I'll take the Nuggets in 6.
Okay, Bob, and bring us home on that one.
All right. I'm going to do the Nuggets in 6 also. And don't be surprised if Miami wins game 1, just because I think the Nuggets are going to come out a little rusty. I think they've been sitting a long time. They haven't played in a while. So I think the Heat's going to sneak one, and then the Nuggets are going to kind of wake up, win a couple more, and then the Heat's going to get one more at home. But I think the Nuggets in 6.
Okay.
That's
Bono, back to you.
I never thought about, Denver being too rested for this. That's an interesting take, Bob, and I appreciate it. But let's go with Mr. Ride Home Rants himself, Drew McLaughlin, on this one. Now that he's out of his car and in his rocking chair, who wins the Finals MVP?
Well, if the Nuggets win, it's hard not to say the Joker. But for a wild card, if we want to throw a wild card out there, Jamal Murray, he's playing out of his mind right now. He's making almost everything he puts up. I can see him if maybe the Joker has a bad game and, Jamal puts up 30 or 35 in a game, or a closeout game, whatever it may be. So I'm going to say the heavy favorites, Joker, obviously. Jamal Murray is the second place. And a dark horse, okay? I'm telling you, a dark horse. Watch out for an Aaron Gordon, okay? Locking up Jimmy Butler or playing some excellent defense. And he had 23 in that closeout game against the Lakers. It's a high odds dark horse, but he plays great basketball. He's tough as nails, and he might be a difference maker in the series.
All right, and I'll save my answer for the end here. But you know what,
Bono, you have to get in your car's drive before you talk.
That's how the show started, man. It was me and my car. Like that's the reason for the name of the show. And I gotta say, I appreciate you, McLaughlin, just being a true trooper to the name of the show and driving home.
I gotta do it. I had to do it for you, Bono. This is all for you.
I appreciate it, man. But Drew Barth, let's go to you.
I'll keep it pretty simple for you. I think Jokic wins it. I think he's going to average a triple-double in the series. And, you could put Murray up there, but I think Jokic will pretty much run away with it.
Okay. Ryan Barth, try not to kill your brother, but what do we got on this one?
Yeah, I'm with him on that. I'll agree with him. I got Jokic as a heavy favorite, and then if it goes to 7, it's going to be Jimmy Butler.
He had to give 2 answers because he gave 2 answers for the previous one, so he had 2 answers for that one. But all right, Mister, round us out here.
Oh man, you gotta go with the Batman, man, versus Joker. Batman versus Joker, man. Give me the Joker, man. I think he'll be the difference maker.
I agree. I picked the Nuggets at 4, and the Joker's just going to run away with this series basically and take Finals MVP. I figured that was going to be everyone's pick, but that's my pick too as well. And Fitty, you know what? Let's go to you with that question, and then you can take over with your team.
Here's what I'll say. I'll say the Joker will win it, but you're also going up against probably one of the best defensive-minded coaches in all of NBA history, Eric Spoelstra, and the toughest team historically probably in the NBA, in the Heat. I wouldn't be surprised if they triple team the Joker consistently and just try to beat him down with Bam and Vincent and whoever else they're going to throw on him, even maybe Jimmy Butler. So I wouldn't be surprised if someone like Porter or Murray wins MVP, just because they're going to throw everything they can at stopping the Joker and they're going to make everybody else beat him. But I'm going to say the Joker, but I'm going to say probably Michael Porter Jr. Before Murray would be my pick after that. But same question for you guys. Tony, who do you got winning MVP of the finals?
It's hard to go against the Joker. I say that my wild card pick will be Jamal Murray, and I know I'm going to pull a Ryan Barth here. If the Heat win, it'll be Jimmy Butler.
All right, Mike, let's go to you.
I'm going to agree with everybody. The best skilled big man of all time, the Joker, to win MVP. But if Ryan Barth's prediction and Miami miracles continue to happen, Jimmy Buckets could take that award if the unexpected keeps happening with the Heat.
I knew you'd hop on, Coach.
Bob, how about you, Bob?
I think it's going to be one of the Denver Nuggets.
We're getting really vague on these answers, man. It's all because Mike started this on the college basketball Final Four, giving vague answers.
But no, if the Joker keeps up his play like he did it against the Lakers and the whole playoff so far, I think you cannot diss him. I mean, a triple-double every game is pretty impressive. And like everybody's been saying, the fourth quarter, he hasn't really scored much in the fourth quarter. He's been dishing out. And so Miami wants to, triple-double team him. He could have like 20, 25 assists maybe, because he's just going to hit his guys and they're going to hit open jumpers.
Let me ask you this, Bono, if you want, as a bonus, quote unquote bonus question here. If this game goes 7, okay, and Jimmy Butler plays insane in all 7 games and the Nuggets still win, is Jimmy Butler a viable finals candidate, MVP?
No.
For what he's done? No?
No, I mean, you can't. I mean, you just can't. I mean, I get what you're saying, and I can see the argument for it, but there's no way they're going to give it to Jimmy Buckets if he loses the series.
I figured I'd give you the bonus question on that one and see what you thought.
Of course. You gotta let's stick to Coach with the question the host with. See, look what you did. Now I can't even talk to end the show, Fitty. Like this is why we work so well in this podcast, Johnny and I, when we do it, because he always throws these curveballs at the end. But that's gonna do it. All 5 questions and the mysterious bonus question, like the Fast 55, I guess, that I throw at you guys. So now I know how you guys feel when we get to ask those questions at the end of the show, and you guys aren't prepared for them. But all right, but that is going to do it for this week's episode of the Ride Home Rants podcast. I want to thank my co-host Fitty and all of the guests, Mr. Askew, both Drew McLaughlin and Drew Barth, Ryan Barth, Mike Worrell, Bob Gavalier, and Tony Bogan. No, don't worry, Tony, I didn't forget about you. But that is going to do it. Also, we did land 2 new sponsors for the show. Please go and check out Dubby Energy. Energy drinks made for streamers, podcasters, gamers alike. It is phenomenal. There's no jitter. The taste is phenomenal. There's no crash afterwards. It has actually replaced my morning coffee and my morning Monster too as well. I just have my Dubby Energy and it gets me through the day. Promo code Mike Bono will get you 10% off of that. And one I am super pumped about, and that is Shankitgolf. Golf apparel made for the everyman that likes to go out and have fun on the course and look good while you're doing it. These guys will help you rock it on and off the course. I am so happy about this. Also, use the promo code Mike Bono. It'll get you 10% off as well, your entire purchase. As always, if you enjoyed this show, be a friend, tell a friend. If you didn't, Tell them anyways. They might like it just because you didn't. That's going to do it for me, and I will see y'all next week. The Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by W Energy. Energy drinks made for gamers, streamers, and podcasters alike. For gamers, streamers, and podcasters alike. Go to the link in the description where you can find the best energy drinks out there. Less caffeine than a cup of coffee. Also, no jitters and no crash afterwards. Use the promo code Mike Bono and get yourself 10% off. Also, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by my favorite sponsor of the show, and that is Shankitgolf. Golf apparel made for the everyday golfer. We might not go out and shoot a 6 under par. We're probably going to shoot a 6 over par, but this is going to give us the gear that's going to help us rocket on and off of the course. Go to the link in the bio, use the promo code Mike Bono, and get yourself 10% off there as well.